I think about 95, 96% of the people that are elected in the 8th Ward or who represent the district that encompasses the 8th Ward, they were appointed. Stanley Moore was appointed. We know Michelle Harris was appointed. Marcel M was appointed. So we see what we get when we have people who are appointed. So we have a voice now, and we have an opportunity to elect Marcel Bright. And we know that Marcel Bright will represent us. The Stanley Moores of the world have to represent the freckles of the world. So we want someone who's going to come in and represent us. So we finally have this opportunity. So we need to tell all of our friends, our families who are in the 4th District to look at Marcel and give him a chance. So this is probably the first time that you have an opportunity to get this intimate with someone who's running, get all of your questions answered. So and a lot of us don't even really know what our commissioners do. So Marcel's going to come, and this is your opportunity to ask him those questions. Marcel.
Now, some of you here know me, some of you don't. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to this point. I'm a lifelong resident of this neighborhood that we're in right now. I attended high school at Bowen over on the southeast side. I worked my way through college, first at Kennedy King and then at Eastern Illinois University. The whole time I never had to take out a loan. Something kids can't do now because tuition is so expensive, but back in the Stone Age, tuition was a lot less. I eventually earned a master's degree from the University of Illinois at Springfield in public affairs reporting. At the old Chicago Defender, when it was a daily paper, I was an editor there. I was a reporter for a newspaper in Decatur, Illinois. I was their first African-American reporter. I've been Director of Public Relations at Stroger Hospital. I was Chief of Staff for Pat Dowell in the 3rd Ward. I've been an executive at a tech company. So I bring a lot of experience to this. Currently, I'm a spokesman for FEMA. At the beginning of this campaign, I was in Houston helping survivors down there. So I've always been service-oriented. I left out that I was a police officer here in Chicago. I'm very proud of that fact. I helped save lives. I helped protect the people, and I tried to change the culture while I was there. While I was a police officer, I worked patrols, I taught at the academy, and eventually became a spokesman for them. So again, to reiterate, I have a lot of experience in and out of government, and I want to bring that experience and serve the people. I'm dismayed by a lot of our public officials, especially the ones who will get in office who are eventually appointed. When you're appointed, your allegiance is to those who appointed you. When you're elected, your allegiance should be to the people who voted for you. Now, in the last election in 2014, I didn't, but a lot of people voted for Stanley Moore because he was the party's candidate. And there wasn't really a strong candidate on the ballot. This time there is. This time there's a candidate on the ballot who cares about people, who's one of us, and who's for all of us. That candidate is me. I want to bring change to the county board that they've never seen before. When I was at Stroger Hospital, I discovered people cheating the health system. I was told to ignore it. I refused to. I took it to the Inspector General. Less than 6 months later, my title was written out of the budget and I no longer work there. They don't want someone like me on the county board because I'll be the same way there. I'll point out what's wrong, I'll fight to correct it, and I'll hopefully make a difference in the lives of the people I represent. So on March 4th, March 20th, no.
March the 20th. The 20th.
On March 20th, as my wife says, vote right, vote for Bright. So like I said, I'd keep that short, but now I'd like to answer any questions. If you want to go more into depth about me, what I would do, If you want to know what county commissioners do, I'll be glad to clarify that and give you answers. Anybody? Yes.
Marcel, how do you feel about, like you've been going to these forums, but you haven't had an opportunity to debate the incumbent? Where is he? Do you have any idea?
Well, he's not showing up at all the forums. He's been to a couple, but it seems like the ones where there's potentially a lot of people are going to be there, he's not showing up. I wish I did have the opportunity to engage him to talk about his record. I wish I had the opportunity to engage some of the other people running, because they're also telling lies, mistruths, half-truths, talking about how they're going to stem violence in Chicago, how they're going to bring economic development to a particular area, when in fact, as a county commissioner, you have very little influence in those areas in the city of Chicago, because Chicago is a home rule city under state law. So when you talk about stemming violence, that's the city's problem. The county can't join with that unless the city invites them. When it comes to economic development, there's a few things the county does do industrially, but as far as small businesses on 87th Street, 79th Street, the county doesn't have a lot of influence there. That's about the city. And so when you hear that, keep in mind, these candidates are simply telling you what they think you want to hear, instead of coming up with real ideas and real solutions, which I've tried to do. I want to set an example with the county board. I say each commissioner has 4 or 5 aides. Totally Practical has 18. I don't believe we need that many. I'm demanding a small 15% decrease. 15%. That'll save $1.2 million a year. Now, when you're talking about a $150 million deficit, it may not sound like a lot, but it's a beginning, and it's an example we can set for the rest of the county, and people will take us seriously about saving the county money. Someone else had a question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually work for the county. My question is, what do commissioners do?
Good question.
What exactly do they do?
This is what commissioners do. They have a responsibility to make sure that the county has adequate revenue and that it meets its responsibility to provide minimum health services, public safety, roads and bridges. That's basically all a commissioner does, to make sure those things are taken care of and making sure the budget is balanced. When other candidates tell you they do this or that for their particular district, it's kind of just trying to pump themselves up and tell you what they want to hear, because as a county commissioner, your main responsibility is to the entire county, making sure the entire county is run properly, that the bail system is done right at Cook County Jail, to make sure that the health system is acting as a true safety net and catching those who otherwise would have no health insurance or no health care. That's basically what a commissioner is supposed to do. It's more of a guardianship. You're supposed to be a guardian for the people. And all these other candidates are telling you a lot of stuff, they're saying a lot of things, but basically that's what a commissioner does. It makes sure that the bills are paid on time, that there's not a deficit. That's the main job of the commissioner. Yes, sir.
And one of the facts that, in fairness to Preckwinkle and to the commissioners, with the executive offices, they can't force them to do anything as far as their budgets, like make a specific line item. They can only come to them, for example, and say, you got to make a 15% reduction in your budget. We don't care where you do it. You have to do that. How do you propose to get over that? Because right now I'm told from people in the sheriff's department that there's this, he called it a big dick contest between Preckwinkle and Dart, where she's saying, you need to cut this top heavy staff, and he's saying, no, screw you, you need to cut your top heavy staff, and we'll see how that works for you.
Yeah, when it comes to offices, you can't do that. And that's why I go back to, let's set an example. If you're doing it, it's easier to demand or ask other county officials to do it. If we say, okay, set an example, we're gonna cut our staff by 15%, which isn't a lot. And the county board will do that because we want you to do the same. It's harder for someone to say, I can't do that. You're not doing it. But if we're doing it and we put it out there and let the people know we're doing it and say we're asking everyone to do it, that's how you do it. That's
But
how.
then you got Daly, people like Daly, and I think Gosselin, and I forgot some of the other commissioners that were saying, I'm giving money back. I'm not using all of my budget for staff and for administrators. I'm already getting back 10,000, 20,000. Are they telling the truth, or?
I'll find out when I get there.